Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon X and Y analysis video. Today's video is going to be all about Mega Charizard X, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Mega Charizard X is the first of two Mega Evolutions that Charizard got this generation, which, upon Mega Evolving through the use of the Charizardite X item, changes Charizard from a Fire Flying type Pokemon into a Fire Dragon type Pokemon, which in my opinion is one of the best offensive typings in the game, as well as a really fantastic defensive typing as well. Now, upon Mega Evolving, you do gain a weakness to Ground type moves and Dragon type moves, while also losing your resistance to Fairy type moves, Fighting type moves, and also the 4 times resistance to Bug type moves, but you also simultaneously gain a resistance to electric moves, which you didn't have before since you were normally hit super effectively by them, and also lose your weakness to water type moves, which I think overall allows this Pokemon significantly more opportunities to switch in and do some significant damage to your opponent's team. Now, when you do Mega Evolve, you also lose your Blaze or Solar Power ability in favor of the Tough Claws ability, which is really fantastic for this Pokemon as it will be boosting the power of all of its contact moves by 30%, which for Mega Charizard X comes in the form of some really strong attacks such as Outrage and Flare Blitz. Now, just to show you a side-by-side comparison of the regular Charizard and Mega Charizard X's stats, you can see very easily here that this Pokemon gains a very substantial increase into its physical attack and physical defense, while also gaining a really nice increase into its special attack as well, allowing this Pokemon to also be more tanky and more offensive at the same time, which is really great for this Pokemon and allows you to run some pretty great sets on it that the regular Charizard would not be able to, as well as the other version of Mega Charizard, which is the Mega Charizard Y version. So with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video. So the first set that I have for you in this video is a defensive Mega Charizard X set for you to run, which I have actually been using quite a lot and have had a ton of success with, so I really suggest you try this one out if you have not used this Pokemon yet. So we're going to start this one off by giving Mega Charizard a Careful Nature to increase its special defense and lower its special attack. And then for purposes of the regular Charizard, we're going to be running to run Blaze, which is obviously going to change into Tough Claws when we do Mega Evolve. But for the EVs, we are going to be almost running max HP with 248 EVs into that to give us our highest HP number possible that is odd, because we are weak to Stealth Rocks. And then we're also going to be maxing our special defense with 252 EVs into that and putting the remainder 8 EVs into your speed. Now, because level 50 stats are weird, we are going to make sure that we swap out 4 of those speed EVs and actually put them into your HP at level 50 to make sure you keep that odd HP number, giving you 252 HP EVs with 4 speed EVs and then still the 252 special defense EVs at level 50. So that is something to just keep in mind for purposes of Wi-Fi battling in X and Y. And as for the item, we are obviously going to be going with Charizardite X. Now, for the first move on this set, we are going to be running Will-O-Wisp, which is going to be really fantastic for this Pokemon to work in combination with its max special defense, as you'll be able to burn physical attackers and take pretty much no damage from the variety of Pokemon you're going to be running into, barring that it is a super effective hit. Now, because Charizard X also got a substantial increase into its defense, you don't really need to EV it at all in that stat, as it is pretty high as it is, so that in combination with the Will-O-Wisp to burn your opponent allows this Pokemon to take physical hits very easily, in combination with its already great ability to take special hits through the use of the EVs into its special defense and HP. But to go along with Will-O-Wisp, we are going to be using Dragon Claw as our main Dragon type stab attack on this set, which still does some pretty significant damage to your opponents, despite the fact that we aren't putting any EVs into its physical attack because of the Tough Claws ability and the substantial increase into its physical attack when it does Mega Evolve. And along with Dragon Claw, we are going to be running a Fire type move in the form of Flare Blitz or Fire Punch. Flare Blitz obviously being the significantly stronger Fire type move, but it does have recoil where Fire Punch does not, so that is something just to keep in mind. Or we can run Earthquake for a different type of coverage against Steel types, which can be very useful depending on the types of Steel Pokemon you're up against. Or we could also feasibly run Defog on the set to allow Charizard X to get rid of any entry hazards on both yours and the opponent's side of the field, which is a really great move to use on this Pokemon because this is a defensive set. Now, this move does have to be transferred over from a Charizard that you had in either any of the 4th gen games that you traded to a 5th gen game and then traded to a 6th gen game. So it is a bit of a process to get that in game, but it still is a really great move and definitely worth it if you can get it. But to top everything all off on this set, we are going to be running Roost to allow Mega Charizard X to have some really great recovery and allow it to last a very long time in battle, which it is very capable of doing through the use of its great special defense and Will-O-Wisp and just really great typing all around. Up next, I have a very deadly boosting set for Mega Charizard X to run. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, and for the ability we're going to be using Blaze for the regular Charizard yet again, which is obviously going to turn into Tough Claws when we evolve. But as for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into its physical attack to max that out this time, along with 4 EVs into its special defense and 252 EVs into its speed to max that out as well, along with the Jolly Nature to make you as fast as possible, and then we're obviously going to be using Charizard at X as the item again. As for the moves, this time, since we are a more offensive set, we are going to start off with one of the best boosting moves in the game, in my opinion, which is Dragon Dance, which simultaneously boosts your physical attack and your speed by 1 stage, turning Mega Charizard X into an absolutely monstrous physical attacker that is also extremely fast after a Dragon Dance boost. Now, along with that, we are going to be making use of our main Dragon type stab on this set, which is going to come in the form of either Dragon Claw or Outrage. Now, Dragon Claw obviously is the weaker move of the two, but you aren't locked into a move like you are with Outrage, and you also cannot get confused after 2 to 3 turns like you can with Outrage. However, because of the significant power of Outrage, you might want to run that over Dragon Claw, so there are really pros and cons to both of these moves, and it's whichever one you think is more useful for this Pokemon. But along with that, we are going to be running Flare Blitz as our main fire-type stab attack on this set, which is going to be doing some pretty significant damage and does give you some really fantastic coverage in combination with your Dragon-type stab as well. And to round everything off on this set, we are either going to be running Earthquake to give you some of the best type coverage in the game overall, as you now no longer really have to worry about a Pokemon like Heatran, which obviously resists your Dragon and Fire-type moves, as Earthquake hits that super effectively 4 times for that matter. But we can also feasibly run Roost on the set as well to allow this Pokemon to recover HP and give it a much easier time to set up, as it will allow it to keep itself at a much higher range of health and possibly even get off more than 1 Dragon Dance if you are able to Roost through an attack that is hitting you for some pretty insignificant damage. And that's really great too, because this will allow this Pokemon to then outspeed even more Pokemon and do even more damage with its dual stab. However, overall, running Earthquake also just gives you some really solid coverage. So if you do run Roost, I might recommend using this Pokemon if you're using it in OU with a Pokemon such as Dugtrio, which can very easily trap Heatran and just OHKO it with Earthquake. So that's just something to keep in mind for allowing this particular Charizard to set up with very little counters. And for the last set that I have for you in this video, we're going to be running a special attacking Mega Charizard X to make use of the boosted special attack it does get upon Mega Evolving. So we're going to start this one off by giving it either a Hasty Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical defense, or a Timid Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack. And then we're going to be going with the ability Blaze for the regular Charizard yet again, which is obviously going to turn into Tough Claws upon Mega Evolving. But for the EVs, this time we're going to be maxing its special attack with 252 EVs into that, putting 4 into its special defense, and then 252 EVs into its speed to max that as well, along with the use of the Charizardite X item to allow this Pokemon to Mega Evolve into this particular form of Mega Charizard. And for the moves, the first one that we're going to be going with on this set is going to be our main stab fire-type special attack in the form of Fire Blast, and this is going to be used in combination with our main stab dragon-type attack on the set in the form of Dragon Pulse. Now together, these two moves have some absolutely amazing type coverage, allowing this Pokemon to hit pretty much everything for either neutral or super effective damage, but there are a few Pokemon that we do need to keep in mind with this set as well, so we can feasibly run either Earthquake or Focus Blast in the third move slot on this set. Now, Earthquake obviously is a physical move, and this is a special set, so this does give us some mixed coverage, as your physical attack is pretty great when used in combination with the hasty nature anyway, and this will allow you a very solid, reliable way to deal with Heatran, as you can still OHKO it with Earthquake, but obviously Focus Blast also gives you some different type coverage as well, while also giving you a way to hit Heatran for some super effective damage, though you are hitting its general stronger defense, so you will have a little bit more difficulty dealing with Heatran if you use Focus Blast than Earthquake, but Focus Blast obviously does give you some other coverage as well, such as being able to hit normal types and dark types super effectively. But for the last move on the set, we could either go with Roost to allow this Pokemon to regain a ton of HP and keep it surviving for a very long time in battle, or we could run Tailwind as a way for this Pokemon to double its speed and make it a very threatening special attacker, as well as also doubling the speed of other teammates, giving this Charizard some really great team support as well. Or we could also feasibly run Flame Charge in the last move slot to allow you a reliable way to boost your speed while simultaneously doing damage. And even though this is a special attacking set, Flame Charge is still a pretty strong move because of stab and because it does get a Tough Claws boost, allowing you a pretty reliable way to boost your speed while doing some damage, and making this Pokemon quite a big threat if you are able to then become faster and outspeed a ton of opponents. Now, obviously, in my opinion, the physical set with Dragon Dance does do significantly more damage, but the special one works extremely well as well, and is a lot more less expected, because people, upon seeing Mega Charizard X, typically think physical attacker, and this one is pretty powerful as well and can allow you to break through many of the physical walls that would counter the regular Charizard X, or the standard physical Charizard X, because you are then using special attacking moves instead, and the dual stab between Dragon and Fire is really only found elsewhere on Reshiram, so that is something to keep in mind, as this Pokemon is the only one able to do this from the special side, other than the legendary Pokemon from Pokemon Black and White. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video, so I wanted to thank you all for watching. Feel free to follow me on Twitch and on Twitter, and also bookmark the database in the description that will have all of these Mega Charizard X sets, as well as all the other sets that I've done in the analysis series thus far. And also feel free to join the Zat at zat.com/pokegrounds to find a very easy place to exchange friend safaris, trade, battle, and just talk about Pokemon with other people. Also, I would like to give a very special shout out to an artist by the name of The Angry Aaron, who provided the artwork for Mega Charizard X in the background of this video, as well as in the backgrounds of many of the other videos that I've done in the Pokemon X and Y analysis series. I really have enjoyed a lot of his interpretations on many of the new Pokemon, and suggest you all check him out. I'll leave a link to his page in the description, so that is something I would definitely suggest you go do after you have finished with this video. But anyways, everybody, that is it for now. So thank you all for watching, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.